Now, where in the world did that performance come from? Straight out of nowhere after a week of scoring less than 4 runs in every single game. The Angels explode for 11 hits, 5 extra base hits, 5 hits with runners in scoring position. Anthony Rendon with an RBI, Taylor Ward with a triple. Those were just some of the many miracles in tonight's win for the Angels. We'll talk about it on tonight's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast right now.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls. Hello, Postcast people, and welcome to the latest and most excited in a while edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live as always after every single Angels game here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel and after the fact wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. I'm Gavin Carlson. If you don't know who I am, I spent the last 4 years as a credentialed journalist in the LA area, and I am now, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And, of course, I'm the host of the Postcast for our Angels, who, of course, are not very good. But you wouldn't know that tonight because, wow, Angels looked like an elite baseball team in just about every phase. The offense explodes after a week of mediocrity. Some guys doing things we never thought we would see from them. A whole lot of miracles we'll get into. And what a win. The Angels beat the Royals 9-5 in Kansas City after losing last night 5-3. Great win, and just like that, we could talk about maybe winning the series in Kansas City. I absolutely cannot believe it. Before we jump into this one, where we'll talk about start from Tyler Anderson, but a great bullpen performance, we, of course, will talk about an offensive explosion and a whole lot of miracles, like I said. But before we jump into any of that, quick shout out to everybody in here. As always, love seeing you all in here. KC24J, Joe Santa Cruz, Skyler, Angels Win, Anaheim Angel, Jeff, and more. Appreciate you guys so much. Glad we can all celebrate a win together for once instead of feeling bad for ourselves after a loss. Also, before we jump into this, a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And where we get started is this game exploding. It was 2-2. It was scoreless through 3 innings if you didn't watch. 4th inning, we finally have some life. The Angels put up 2 in the 4th inning. The Royals respond with 2 in the bottom of the 4th. But this game and the craziness of this thriller starts in the top of the 6th. Like we said, it's 2-2. Tyler Anderson still on the mound at this point for the Angels, pitching very well. Reagans, who had pitched the first 5 innings, comes up to pitch, in the 6th, and he would get knocked out thanks to a heck of a inning from the Angels, putting up a 3 spot in the top of the 6th. And how did it start? Well, with who else than Zach Neto? And it's funny. You kind of sense that Zach Neto knows he's going against Bobby Witt Jr., know he's going up against another young elite infielder like himself. And Zach Neto tried to make a point today that, oh, buddy, I am elite. 2 for 5 with this solo shot to lead off the 6th inning and an absolute bomb. He got all over. There's a lot of hard hit balls today, kind of by both teams, let's be honest. A lot of great at-bats. Don't you worry. We'll get to that Kevin Pillar stunning at-bat. But Zach Neto, 104 exit velo. How about 424 feet on a high fastball? Every once in a while, you'll see Zach Neto get on top of a high fastball and make it look easy, make it look like a meatball when that's not an easy pitch for you to hit. He crushed it. 424 to left field. Just like that, the Angels get a 3-2 lead. But they were certainly not done there. Nolan Schanuel forces a 5-pitch walk. Then Kevin Pillar gets hit on the very first pitch of his at-bat, and rightfully so. The Royals are like, all right, that's all we need to see to replace Cole Reagans with James MacArthur. But the substitution did not stop the Angels' offense. If anything, it just helped us out even more. Logan O'Hoppe finally breaking out of the slump, comes on with nobody out, first and second. He hits a base hit. hits a nice line drive to center, gets past everybody up the middle, and Nolan Schanuel was able to score from second. Kevin Pillar goes from first to third. It's now first and third with still nobody out for Anthony Rendon. And here is where we start talking about miracles. You want to hear a miracle? An RBI from Anthony Rendon. I mean, is that all you need to know that this game made absolutely no sense? Anthony Rendon just has 8 RBIs on the year. 8. Not 8 in a week, not 8 in a month. I mean, to be fair, he doesn't play baseball, but 8 RBIs. And 2 of them came tonight. He came in tonight with 6. He got a third of his RBIs for the year. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But Anthony Rendon gets an RBI on a single. He hits a liner to right field. Didn't crush it or anything. Just pokes it to the opposite field. We know he doesn't have any pop. We know he doesn't have any power. But he pokes a inside sinker, kind of a jam shot to some degree. Pokes it down the right field line. Pillar scores. O'Hoppe gets to second. It's now 5-2. And it's first and second. It was still nobody out. You're thinking the Angels could blow this one open. Unfortunately, Brandon Drury, even in a game like tonight where the Angels have 11 hits, 5 extra base hits, 5 hits with runners in scoring position, do just about everything right, Brandon Drury still manages to have a bad game. He is brutal. He strikes out, and that kind of takes away some of the momentum. Joe Adell briefly keeps it going with a 1-out single to load the bases, but then Jack Lopez comes up with the bases loaded, and unfortunately, Jack Lopez had a good game, and I kind of badmouthed him yesterday by forgetting his name, but today, bases loaded, he does ground out into a double play. That certainly hurt. Could have really exploded or extended this lead, kind of exploded in the 6th inning and put this one away. Instead, the double play keeps it relatively close, and, at the time, or as this game progressed, you're thinking, man, that might be a key play because this game had so many more runs left in it. So many that I might not even get to them all by the end of the first segment, which is great. I am not complaining at all. We haven't had this in ages. But the Angels put up a 3 spot in the 6th. Tyler Anderson puts up another goose egg in the bottom of the 6th. 7th inning starts. It's 5-2 Angels. And something I absolutely love tonight, and another thing that I will consider a miracle, and I don't think you guys are going to disagree with me calling it a miracle, the Angels scored runs in 4 innings. They scored multiple runs in 4 innings. Yes, it's a miracle. It's a miracle to say this team scored 4 runs. We haven't seen that in over a week, right? But to see this team not even just use 2 2-run innings in order to do it, or 2 3-run innings. How about 3 2-run innings and a 3-run inning? An absolute huge offensive explosion where they do it multiple times. And this top of the 7th is about the most proud I've been of this team, maybe all year. To have a great 6th, you're up 5-2. Tyler Anderson's dealing, puts up a 0 in the bottom of the 6th. This lineup very easily could have, and certainly in the past has said, all right, we've done our job. We scored 5 runs. Let's roll over now. Let's let Tyler Anderson carry us. And surely enough, that wouldn't have been enough. But thank goodness this team does not for once do that, and they keep it going. In the top of the 7th, Chris Stratton comes in for James MacArthur, and he struggled just like every other Royals pitcher. Taylor Ward with a single in a multi-hit game for him. He heard me ripping on him yesterday. Zach Neto continued his stellar performance with a base hit on a tough slider below the knees. Not a good pitch, and he ripped it. Then Schanuel gets walked once again, a full count, a 6-pitch walk. He was great today at the plate. Great at-bats from him. And then one of the best at-bats of the season, one of the best at-bats I've seen in a while. Kevin Pillar with the bases loaded, with nobody out, when all year this team has been abysmal with runners in scoring position. And not only does he come through and get an RBI, do the basic veteran thing of getting a sac fly when you have a lead. In other situations, down 3 runs, maybe you really would have liked Kevin Pillar to hit one in the gap or something, of course. But you're up 3. Just get a sac fly, man. Just get a run, right? Not only does he do that, 14 pitches. 14. How about strike, ball? So it's 1 and 2, then 2 foul balls, then a ball, then 2 foul balls, then a ball, then 4 foul balls to keep it at 3 and 2. Pitch number 14 is a fastball high and away, nowhere near the zone, but Pillar is looking for a fastball. He's looking for something up that he can hit opposite field for a sac fly. That's exactly what he does. He hits a 356-foot sac fly on a pitch nowhere near the zone, 14 pitches, unbelievable at bat, unbelievable game from him. That makes it 6-2. And then Logan O'Hoppe, another miracle. It feels like, really, with how bad he's been lately. Back-to-back innings with an RBI for Logan O'Hoppe. He rips a ground ball that gets through. Neto scores. Schanuel gets the third. It's 6-2. And we're still not done. Zerpa comes in for Stratton. And, well, actually, no, we are done. Zerpa comes in for Stratton. Rendon reaches on a throwing error. And you're thinking, whoa, bases loaded again. But guess what? The only kryptonite for the Angels today is Brandon Drury. Once again, he strikes out again. Joe Adell lines out, and the inning is over. Now, the reason all this is so important, we'll talk about it after the break, is the Royals were not done. The Royals fall behind 7-2. And like I said, thank goodness the Angels went up 7-2 and didn't roll over when it was 5-2, because the Royals woke up in the bottom of the 7th inning and made this one interesting, made it a thriller. We'll talk about that and so much more after our first break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's exciting for once Angels Postcast, Locked On Angels Postcast, is brought to you once again by FanDuel. You've heard me talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and the current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Think about that. All you gotta do is bet $5. You're basically paying $5. Not to mention that when you bet $5, you can win money. But no matter what, you bet $5 and you get 3 weeks. What does 3 weeks really mean? Think about all the games there are in the NFL every Sunday. I mean, at least you're gonna watch like 5, right? That's like 15 games for free in the NFL. Imagine the first 3 weeks with your fantasy team, or maybe if you live in a state where you can use FanDuel and bet, 3 weeks of watching all your bets. So please join. Just visit, FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook and take advantage of that amazing offer once again with FanDuel. Back here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I am Gavin Carlson, and miracles exist, folks. Not only do the Angels score more than 3 runs for the first time in a week, not only do they win a game for just the second time in their last 7, but not only do they have a chance to win a series, yes, another miracle, but we have a bunch of individual miracles. We already talked about Anthony Rendon getting his 7th and 8th RBIs of the year in one game. We haven't even gotten to the Taylor Ward triple, his first in over a year and a half. I mean, what? The Angels scored not 1 or 2 big innings. How about 4 innings with multiple runs in this game? And yet, despite all that, I'm about to tell you about the bottom of the 7th, where things got interesting and close. Because even in a game where the Angels finally put up 9 runs, it still got interesting. At this point, where we're leaving off from the first segment, and I know it's a little play-by-play tonight, but for once, we have exciting stuff to talk about. It's 7-2 going into the bottom of the 7th, and good thing the Angels put up 2 in the top of the 7th, because Royals go single, Bobby Witt double, all in a row off Tyler Anderson to make it 7-3. It's 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. The only reason the Angels leave Tyler Anderson in, most likely, is because Pasquantino, the DH, is a lefty, so you want to leave Tyler Anderson in. Unfortunately, Anderson throws a high fastball on 2-2. Not a terrible pitch, but when you only throw a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, not really a strikeout pitch. And Pasquantino takes advantage, makes it 4 straight base hits, including a double, to lead off this 7th inning. And just like that, 7-2 is now 7-5. 2 RBI single from Pasquantino. Surely Tyler Anderson comes out after that. Hunter Strickland comes in with Salvi Perez up, nobody out, runner on first, and talk about shutting the door and saving this one for the Angels. Gets Perez to fly out and then gets Rendon to ground into a double, or not Rendon, Renfroe to ground into a double play to Anthony Rendon. The Angels turn 2 and get out of the 7th inning, still leading by 2. How huge is that? And then we kind of calm down a little bit in the 8th. No runs for either team, despite, like I was about to get to, the miracle that is Taylor Ward having his first triple since not this year, not last year, but the year before that. Miracles exist, folks. Taylor Ward triples. Unfortunately, we're not able to take advantage because the Royals intentionally walk Zach Neto. Kevin Pillar walks, but we have 2 outs from Schanuel and Logan O'Hoppe. Bottom of the 8th inning, Jose Quijada comes in, goes 1-2-3, looks fantastic. And once again, the Angels shocking me, shocking you, shocking everybody, and making me so proud as I wipe off sweat off my face by continuing to hit, even with the lead, even after multiple big innings. For once, this team says, you know what? We're going to keep hitting. Anthony Rendon, a leadoff walk. This guy got on base a couple times. Miracles exist. Once again, even on a big game, Brandon Drury still finds a way to strike out again. But then Joe Adell comes up with Rendon on first, hits a double. Anthony Rendon scores. Kind of a tight play at the plate. They have to review it. The call is upheld. Rendon scores. Adell gets the RBI. He's on second. He ends up getting to third on the whole play. Jack Lopez comes up, and in another miracle, the last miracle of this one, a suicide squeeze for the Angels actually worked. Just think about how many things I said that if that one thing happened, we would spend an entire postcast talking about it in any other game. A Rendon 2 RBI game, we talk about it for 30 minutes. Maybe not that, actually, because I don't want to give that guy 30 minutes. He doesn't deserve 30 minutes of praise, but we would be shocked about it for all 30 minutes. A Taylor Ward triple, we'd be shocked about it. Multiple innings with 2 runs or 3 runs, we'll get a whole postcast. A suicide squeeze actually working would get 30 minutes because we've seen that be a failure about 3 or 4 times this year. So many things happened today that were absolutely unfathomable if you've watched Angels baseball this year. But Jack Lopez, who once again, I wasn't familiar with your game. I forgot your name yesterday out of disrespect, but a good game for him. He has a couple great defensive plays, and he also has one of the better bunts you'll see on a fastball down and in that basically might have hit him if he was having a normal at-bat. But the suicide squeeze is on, and so he knows he's got to put a bat on it, and he gets a great sac bunt down. He scores Joe Adell. He makes it 9-5 Angels, and that was all we needed because then Ben Joyce comes in the 9th, not a save opportunity, but he goes 1-2-3, including a thrilling, fulfilling strikeout of Bobby Witt Jr. 3 fastballs, 104.8, 104.5, 103.2 to strike out Bobby Witt. Had him shaking his head, had all of us clapping, and what a win for the Angels. Just a thriller, an absolute thriller. Tyler Anderson gets the win. He's 10-11, despite not his best stuff. He pitched 6 great innings, then absolutely blew up in the 7th. The stat line ends up looking pretty bad. 6 innings, 12 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and just 2 strikeouts. But let's be honest. Through the first 6 innings, he only had given up 2 runs. He was playing really well. He also had some run support for once. So glad that he gets a win. Strickland, a scoreless inning. Quijada, a scoreless inning with a strikeout. And then Ben Joyce, that scoreless 9th with 2 strikeouts, gets that ERA back under 2.5 at 2.45. The box score looking very great. Taylor Ward goes 2 for 5. Zach Neto goes 2 for 5. Nolan Schanuel 1 for 5, but gets walked 3 times. Pillar 1 for 2 with the best sac fly at bat you'll ever see. 14 pitches. He had 2 RBIs. O'Hoppe 2 RBIs with a 2 for 5. Gosh, so great to see that for him. Anthony Rendon somehow gets 2 RBIs and has 2 walks in a 1 for 2 game. And then there's Brandon Drury. It's laughable that in a game where everybody else gets a hit, and Jack Lopez doesn't get a hit, but everybody else does well, as at least a hit or a walk or an RBI or something, except for Brandon Drury. 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. My God, you're terrible. We'll keep moving along. Joe Adell 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. And then Jack Lopez, he does go 0 for 4. He still doesn't have a hit this year. He strikes out twice, but at least he executes the suicide squeeze and actually had a couple very good defensive plays. After this last break here, we'll get to a very abbreviated version of Gavin's good, bad, and ugly because we kind of already talked about a lot of it. But for once, I had so many things to talk about. I didn't even get to Gavin's good, bad, and ugly until the last segment. And for once, there's good things to have in Gavin's good, bad, and ugly. We'll get to that. I will read your comments before we wrap this one up, and then look forward to maybe getting a series win tomorrow. We'll talk about it all after our last break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Finally, today's show is brought to you by the wonderful people at PrizePicks. Right now, you can win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. That's right, you can turn $10 into $1,000 on America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members, PrizePicks. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. 1 Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on PrizePicks every week in September. That's right, only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss out on this PrizePicks deal because it's gone when September ends. Think Tyreek Hill will get more than 90.5 yards in week 1? Aaron Jones runs for less than 66.5 yards? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. So, download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, run your game. Back here live one more time, the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I am a thrilled Gavin Carlson because the Angels actually do something offensively, and it results in a win. 9-5 over the Royals, and now we have an opportunity to win a series as we're continuing our road to avoiding 100 losses on the year. We already talked about all the miracles that happened tonight. We'll very quickly just cover Gavin's good, bad, and ugly just because we always need to do it. But I got to say one thing real quick. If you are a frequent watcher or listener of the podcast, you know a couple things. You know that I like to run. I like to work out. I am currently training for half marathon. If you recall, the last time I said I was running 8 miles last week, I said I was running 8 miles while watching the Angels, and they had one of the worst games of the year and made me absolutely infuriated during my run. Well, today, I had another 8-mile run, and the Angels gave me the best game. And wait, here's the part you all love. What am I doing right now to celebrate the win? I'm drinking our favorite liquid IV. Of course, got to get those electrolytes in. We know that's a meme at this point on the postcast. But guess who else had their electrolytes tonight? The Los Angeles Angels. Let's get to Gavin's good, bad, and ugly before I get to your comments. The goods. I mean, everything, except maybe Tyler Anderson through the first 6 innings. He was good, so we'll count that. But the bullpen was flawless. Everybody other than Brandon Drury did something. We already talked about the miracle, so really put everything in the good. What goes in the bad? I guess Jack Lopez hitting a little bit. The Royals, for the most part, especially their pitching. And what goes in the ugly? Just one thing, Brandon Drury. Brandon Drury, 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. It's amazing that even in a game like this where everybody does well, he's able to be that bad. It's crazy. But with all that being said, let's jump in your comments. There are so many because the Angels actually showed us something that we can be excited about. We start with Jeff as always. He says, just checking in, we might actually win tonight. And then he says, wow, we won. How about that? Skyler always has his prophecies. Today he says, I have a serious question, Angels. Where was this all year? Exactly. I finally seen us play with urgency for 9 innings. That's exactly right. Like I keep saying, for once this team, even in a win, normally the wins are, hey, we played good for 3 innings offensively, and then the pitching was great. Or we had 1 inning, and then the pitching was really great. But today, the pitching was okay, but multiple runs in multiple innings, and back-to-back innings with multiple runs. Just the resilience. Coming up in the 9th inning, up multiple runs and saying, no, we're going to keep scoring. Stuff we haven't seen in so long. Skylar adds that Neto is the true leader of this team. Kevin Pillar with the at-bat of the year. Absolutely. You read my mind. And he says, oh, I forgot Ben Joyce has that dog in him. Got Bobby Witt shaking in his boots with straight heat. Yes, he did. Anaheim Angel says, what you know. Score runs and win. I mean, it really is that simple. I didn't watch, but only based on the box score. This is why you play Pilar every day, and Drury needs to stay on the bench. Rendon with RBIs. What did I miss? Exactly. One of the many miracles tonight, the Anthony Rendon RBIs. Angels win, says light. Maybe he's saying light that baby up. Maybe he's saying a light dub. I don't know. He gets to keep his nickname for a day, or his profile name for at least another day with Angels win, because yesterday he was talking about changing it. More talk about Pilar. Yes, he does play well in Kansas City. And then Skylar once again says, let's not forget about the play of this game for me, Jack Lopez, with the beautiful suicide squeeze to score a del. If only we can play small ball every game, stop being a hero and do the little things. Skylar continues to read my mind, say exactly what I think, exactly what I talked about earlier in the show. To be fair, he had these comments in the chat before I even said that. So he knows what he's talking about. He's agreeing with me, and absolutely. Joe Santa Cruz, what up? He says, light that baby up. It's rare to say that. And he says, for Jack Lopez to get the suicide squeeze bunt down was ridiculous. We need to get him to teach everyone else how it's done. Yeah, we've tried it so many times. It's never worked, to the point where me, someone who's advocated bunting all year, even I was getting frustrated watching suicide squeezes because they just weren't working, but they finally did today. KC24J says, let's win the series tomorrow. Why not light that baby up? How nice. The goal for every series should just be get to the point where game 3 is a rubber match, a opportunity to win the series, right? I'm not expecting to open a series with 2 wins, but if we can just win 1 of 2 and make every rubber match doable, or a thing, and maybe you win the rubber match half the times or even a third of the times, at least have the opportunity. Have yourself something to play for. Daniel Barry, what up? Justin, I think this might be my first time seeing you. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But he says Mark Ubazon needs to stop fawning over the opposing team, especially the Royals. Talking about Witt's throw to home. Incredible. Unbelievable. Come on. It was a good throw at best. And Rendon was safe. Yeah, I mean, he adds, go back to the Royals goober. That's hilarious. I mean, yeah, Bobby Witt's exciting. And so certainly when an exciting player makes an exciting play, maybe he gets a little more credit than an average guy making that play gets. You know, I like, the one thing I will say is that you can kind of tell from the announcers, from everyone watching the game, for me, even in this postcast, we haven't had exciting games like this for the Angels in a while. Not only a win, not only a game where the team plays so well, but also just an exciting baseball game. It wasn't 9-1. It wasn't even a rare Angels blowout win. It was a game where we went up, then it got close. We went up more, then it got close again. It was exciting. So, yeah, he maybe got a little too excited there, but just kind of one of those games where there's actually a lot to get excited about. A couple more. I keep wiping off sweat. It's so hot in here. He says, Artie needs to bring back the Wonder Dog for the broadcast. Man, we got jokes today. Joe Santa Cruz says, also, can we get the Angels to stop swinging at first pitches? Yes, they did good today, but that needs to stop, especially Brandon Drury. Yeah, I mean, I like seeing the Angels have good at-bats above all else. We want to see this team grow, have good at-bats. And a couple guys, I think, have the benefit of the doubt. I like seeing Zach Neto swing first pitch. I like seeing Logan O'Hoppe swing first pitch. Joe Adell sometimes has success first pitch, but he also sometimes looks foolish first pitch. So only a couple guys really should have that right. Anthony Jimenez says, hey. Angels win, says Ben Joyce with a couple fire emojis. Absolutely. Angels score 5 or more, and they get the win. You're exactly right, Anthony Jimenez. Good old Liquid IV. Absolutely. Anthony Jimenez says 2 shots of Liquid IV for the win. I actually have 2 pouches in today because 8 miles, whole lot of sweat. Quijada with the splits on the mound on the called third strike was priceless. Yeah, just that's what I mean. So many exciting things in this one. We haven't had that in so long. It's nice to have so many exciting things to talk about. It's nice to have a win. It's nice to see so many guys that are a key part of the future play well. Even the veterans actually did what they're supposed to, other than Brandon Drury, but we'll stop talking about that. But yes, Angels win a thriller, 9-5. Like I said, 11 hits. The crazy thing, the Royals have more hits than the Angels tonight. And they weren't even terrible with runners in scoring position. They were good, 4 for 10. We still technically were sub, 1/3, hitting 333, with runners in scoring position. We had 16 opportunities. But I would take a 5 for 16 with runners in scoring position any day of the week. Like I said, 5 extra base hits, 5 hits with runners in scoring position. You give up 5 runs, you score 9, you have 11 hits. Just about everybody comes through, except for Brandon Drury, and a great win. With all that being said, be back here with me tomorrow. Same first pitch, 5:10. This game was really long, so the show might be a little bit earlier tomorrow if the game is a little bit more normal in terms of how long it takes. But no matter what, I'll be here, and hopefully you will be as well. And hopefully, above all else, it's after another thrilling Angels win. Let's manifest it. But with all that being said, I'm Gavin Carlson. This was the Locked On Angels Postcast. Angels win 9-5. A thriller, a fun one, an exciting one. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night. Celebrate the win. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. And as always, and especially after a win like tonight, go Angels. Take care, everybody.